built. They don't seem to have any payload. What do you think, in your experience? Are we truly witnessing some sort of alien phenomena, or will this be soon explained, you think?
Oh, I wish these were UFOs. Every kid will be so thrilled. But let me explain the viewers that the US scientific community, NASA, carried out a study from 1973 all the way up to 1993, a period lasting 20 years, during which they deployed their spatial sensors not only in upper atmosphere but also in lower Earth orbit to locate any UFO phenomena or any alien craft. After 20 years of research, NASA finally gave an official report saying that no proof of an object originating from outer space was ever found.
Okay. Yeah, I think this is a tricky situation. They haven't really said that they believe this is alien tech, but at the same time, you know, science dictates that you cannot rule out something unless you can prove it as well. Interestingly, in one of the downings that US and Canada did together, they're looking for the wreckage, and that would be very, very crucial to find, maybe to provide us with more answers. Group Captain, thanks a lot for joining us for that quick chat. With that, it's a wrap on Plain Speak. My colleague Maria Shakil is now joining you with News Epicenter.
Watching News Epicenter with me, Maria Shakil. A massive political face-off has erupted between the BJP and the opposition over former Supreme Court Judge Syed Abdul Nazeer's appointment as the Governor of Andhra Pradesh. Just 5 weeks after his retirement, while Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Jagan Reddy welcomed the move, saying it is a privilege to work with Justice Nazir, the opposition is crying foul over the appointment, calling it a threat to judicial independence, citing the fact that Justice Nazir was part of the bench that delivered the unanimous Ayodhya verdict in favor of the Hindu side. The opposition claims he has been rewarded for the Supreme Court verdict that paved way for the Ram temple that is set to open its doors early next year. Union Law Minister Kiren Rijiju hit back at the opposition, saying that the left ecosystem cannot treat India as their personal fiefdom, citing that no provision of the Constitution has been violated by Justice Nazir's appointment. This fresh showdown between the centre and the opposition seems to be ignoring past precedents and the rules laid down for the appointment for former judges, even the norms set for the cooling off period. The point of attack is the fact that Justice Nazir was part of the Ram Mandir bench, with the fight also coming amidst the tussle between the centre and the judiciary over the collegium system. But can the opposition, namely the Congress, make such charges in isolation of past precedents and rules? That's our top focus on News Epicenter.
Who have served in the apex judiciary, should they be accepting such post-retirement sinecures?
जिन्होंने आपके बारे में फेवर किया, उनको कुछ ना कुछ फेवर आप कर रहे हो.
Congress party itself had laid down the convention of giving positions to the retired judges. Some allegations on such appointment, I think it is not proper on the part of any political party.
अगर कोर्ट में फैसला पक्ष में नहीं आया तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट को गाली देता, उसकी आलोचना करता.
To decode the matter, let's first give you an overview of the landmark rulings that Justice Nazir has been a part of. Right before his retirement, he was part of the bench that cleared the centre's demonetization decision. He was also on the bench which ruled that there will be no additional curbs on the free speech of legislators. The court was hearing pleas citing an alarming rise in hate speeches by elected representatives. These were in 2023. But in 2019, he was part of the 5-judge bench that finally ended decades of long dispute, paving the way for the Ram temple in Ayodhya. And in 2018, just a year before that, Justice Nazir was part of the Supreme Court bench that held privacy to be a fundamental right, while in 2017, he was part of the minority opinion in the 3-2 ruling which opposed the ban on triple talaq. So it's not fair to allege that he championed a political agenda when he was part of the Supreme Court. In fact, when we look at past appointments, Justice Nazir is not the only Supreme Court judge to be elevated to the post of the governor. In 2014, Justice Sathasivam was appointed the governor of Kerala 4 months after his retirement in April. In 1997, Justice Fatima Bibi was appointed the governor of Tamil Nadu 5 years after her retirement in 1992. If we go back further, Justice Syed Fazl Ali, who retired as a judge in May 1952, was appointed the governor of Orissa the same year and then went on to serve as the governor of Assam. So you can see that this notion of a cooling off period is never really set. For now, there is no law. There is no law absolutely that restricts a retired judge from holding the post of governor. And in 2021, the Supreme Court refused to fix a cooling off period for judges. The top court, in fact, made the same observation in 2014, saying it can't fix a cooling off period for judges to take government jobs. However, a 1-year cooling off period is set for retired bureaucrats. So we have seen this trend in appointment of top judges under the UPA as well. And this is what the BJP and the government is saying. Justice KG Balakrishnan, he retired in May 2010 and was appointed as the chairperson of National Human Rights Commission in June 2010, just in a month's time. Justice A.K. Ganguly retired in February 2012 and was appointed as the head of the West Bengal Human Rights Panel in March 2012. Justice M. Sharma retired in September 2011 and was cleared as the chief of the Vansadhara Water Dispute Tribunal 4 months before retirement. Then there was Justice L.S. Panta, who retired in April 2009 and was appointed as the chairperson of the NGT in 2010. So is the opposition really in a position to judge the appointment of Justice Nazir? I'm going to take this question to the panelists who are joining me live. Arima Sundaram, Senior Advocate of Supreme Court. Vikas Singh is President of Supreme Court Bar Association. P.K. Malhotra, former Law Secretary. Jaivir Shergill is BJP spokesperson. And Adil Hassan is MIM spokesperson. I'm going to begin with the lawyers first. Arima Sundaram, there is no legal bar in the Constitution which stops the government from making such an appointment. However, this is a question of propriety. But isn't this almost an outdated idea to talk about cooling off period, because it's something that's not followed and it remains mostly in the domain of political slugfest?
Well, to answer you directly, I don't see where the propriety comes in this issue. You are right that there is no such thing as a cooling off period, and I fail to see what the whole controversy is about. According to me, it's much ado about nothing. And let me tell you why I'm saying this. Look, there are 3 kinds of appointments which can follow after retirement of a judge. There could be appointments which are purely political in nature. There could be appointments which are constitutional in nature. And there could be appointments which have to do with heading tribunals. All this nonsense which has been spoken about, judges who have retired from the Supreme Court being appointed to tribunals, obviously the people who are saying it have not read the legislation or are not aware of the legislation. Because the tribunals or acts which are setting up the tribunals mandatorily provides that the chairman of the tribunal shall be a retired judge of the Supreme Court or a retired Chief Justice. So it is only retired judges of Supreme Court or retired Chief Justices who you appoint to the tribunal. And usually you appoint judges who are retiring at about the same time a vacancy arises. So there's no gap in any great vacancy in the tribunal, because that's the only way the tribunals can function. So for people who are objecting, the chairman of the National Human Rights Commission had to be a retired Chief Justice. The chairman of the National Green Tribunal had to be a retired judge of the Supreme Court. Or the chairman of the NCLAT, that is the National Company Law Tribunal, has to be a retired judge of the Supreme Court of the High Court, Chief Justice of the High Court. So these objections are meaningless and come from people who obviously are not aware of the legislation or who have not read the acts. Now let's come to the second, purely political.
Yes.
Here, there could be some room for criticism of other political parties, saying here was a judge of the Supreme Court, today he has joined this political party, become a member of the one of the houses of parliament on the flag of this particular party, and has really become a party man. There could be room for criticism. But so far as constitutional appointments, we've had Justice Subbarao, who stood for election as the president. We had Chief Justice Hidayatullah, who became the vice president.
Yes.
We had Justice Hegde, who thereafter became a Speaker of the House. Now listen, these are eminent people. Now let's understand constitutionally, the governor is meant to be a very eminent person. The governor is not a pure political appointment. In fact, the screaming of everybody is, oh, the governor's office is being politicized. The governor constitutionally has to be like a father familias, like a patre familias of the state. And the governor is being politicized. Yet when you put a non-political person there, when you put a person, an eminent person who has been a very distinguished jurist there, who would aptly fill the office, where is the question of objecting? Then what are you saying? It should only be a political person. On the one hand, you're claiming that the post is becoming political. On the other hand, you're complaining when a non-political person is being put there and saying, look here, that means this person is really under the surface politically inclined to a party. On the contrary, I remember in the old days, Jayachamaraja Wadayar, the old erstwhile Maharaja of Mysore, very erudite man, was made the governor of Madras.
Yes.
We've had great governors who have occupied the offices because of their eminence. The politicizing of the office is being done by the very political parties who are today screaming about it.
Yes.
And so far as Justice Nazir is concerned, on the bench, he had all the respect. He had the greatest regard for him. He was always considered a very fine judge. He's a man of great courtesy, great etiquette, great learning. He turned out to be a good judge. And I am saying that the state of Andhra Pradesh is blessed to have an eminent person like this as a governor.
You have set up the debate very well. So thank you so much for your time, and also for setting it up with a lot of historical data and, of course, the constitutional position on this. P.K. Malhotra, you know, one view certainly is that it's one thing to be appointed to for the role of tribunals, because the tribunals require a former judge to head it. But what about a Rajya Sabha berth or even the role of a governor?
Well, first I would like to comment on the observations made in your opening remarks with regard to appointment of Justice Nazir because of the certain judgments which you have referred to. I think that will not be the correct proposition, as Mr. Subramaniam has also pointed out. Justice Nazir was a wonderful judge, and the judgments were not given by him individually. They are the judgments given by a constitutional bench, having not 5 judges or 7 judges or 9 judges in the bench. So he is only one of the judge who has delivered this judgment. So it's a favor shown to him will not be a correct proposition, more particularly knowing the reputation which he enjoys in the judiciary and among the legal fraternity. Now, I think Mr. Subramaniam has also rightly classified that there can be 3 types of appointments of the persons retiring from the judiciary. One are the constitutional appointments. Second is the appointments made in the tribunal under the law made by the parliament. And third is executive made by the government in exercise of the executive authority. I think so far as the constitutional appointments are concerned, there is no question mark on that. So far as the under the acts of parliament, if the law itself prescribes that only a retired judge of the Supreme Court or High Court will be appointed to the tribunal or the commission, I think no question should be put on this kind of appointment, because they are all statutory appointment governed by the law made by the parliament. It is only the third category where you are appointing somebody as a member in the Rajya Sabha, or say appointing as a governor, where this kind of questions are being raised. Now let us not forget that appointment of a governor is also a political appointment on the because this is made by the president, and the only qualification prescribed for appointment of governor is that he should be a citizen of India and he should be of 35 years of age. That's the only qualification prescribed, and it goes without saying that this kind of appointment which are made by the political parties or the party in power is the executive power which is exercised through the President of India. So in this case, there is a scope of making political appointments. So if the person from the judiciary is appointed, immediately after his appointment, there can be people who will raise question to this kind of appointment, and that is what is being done. But it should not be taken for an individual that is casting any aspersion on the individual. It is a systemic thing which we are talking, that whether this kind of appointment immediately after demitting the office should be made or not. Even Mr. Arun Jaitley is on record having said in the parliament that if the judges are appointed to this kind of political posts immediately on their retirement, probably a doubt is raised on the independence and impartiality of the judiciary, and also that in future the people who are going to deliver the judgment, they are guided by this kind of, they are rather persuaded to see that they give a judgment in favor of the government. I think if this kind of statement has come from a person none other than Arun Jaitley, that has to be taken seriously. And the period of cooling off which you were talking about in this third category of appointment appears to be a point for consideration.
You know, Arima Sundaram, before I bring in Vikas Singh and then I will get in the politicians. Arima Sundaram, you know, while you argue well that, you know, as far as the governor's role is concerned, it is supposed to be a political, and the political slugfest that we are seeing in multiple states is also an example of how he is looked as a political appointee, and that is also the truth, sir. My question then is that if there is a cooling off period for retired bureaucrats, there is a cooling off period in other categories, shouldn't it be there also in the case of judges? Just a cooling off period, thereafter, maybe after 6 months or a year, the person, because he is of course a retired Supreme Court judge, a person of great eminence, he can be moved to any position.
Look, once it is accepted that a judge of a Supreme Court could thereafter take office as a governor, and let us also accept one thing, as a judge of the Supreme Court, when he accepts office as a governor, he does not step down in protocol, he in fact steps up in protocol. So there's no problem there. Once you accept that he can take office, where is the question of a cooling off period? And don't compare a retired bureaucrat with a retired judge of the Supreme Court. The retired judge of the Supreme Court is a constitutional office. He is appointed under the Constitution. He is a constitutional authority. Whereas a bureaucrat is appointed by various service laws, by a different format of appointment altogether. He is a government servant. He cannot be compared with a judge of the Supreme Court. Secondly, when a judge of a Supreme Court is appointed to such an office, you are basically dignifying the office. You are in no way giving this judge a favor. Let me assure you that eminent judges of the Supreme Court, after they retire, they can take up arbitrations, they can do various things, they can make enormous amount of monetary, enormous amount of earnings after that. But when they take up offices like this, I think you want them to share their experience in an important office, and especially the office of a governor, an official who should be well aware of the Constitution, and an office where the governor is meant to be aware of constitutional rights, constitutional duties, and is meant to be a person who is well charged, well in knowledge of the Constitution. Who better than a retired judge of the Supreme Court? I think it's very good. I don't see anything wrong in it. And in this case, certainly in Justice Nazir's case, I think there's been much ado about nothing. It's become a case of, objecting for the sake of objecting, because not a finger can ever be pointed at any kind of political favors being given here in this case.
Vikas Singh, which side of the debate are you on? Because the jury certainly is out on this. There are views that there should be a cooling off period, and also there are views of Arima Sundaram who's saying that this is much ado about nothing, because if anything, a retired judge brings that experience, knowledge of constitution when he takes the role of in a constitution office such as the Raj Bhavan.
So, Maria, there are several appointments where retired judges get appointed to. Now, some of these are, like the tribunals or the NHRC, where the act or the statute itself provides for a retired Supreme Court judge to be appointed. Now, in those cases, for having a judge of the Supreme Court to be taken in immediately after retirement, it can't be questioned, because ultimately you have to get somebody who is the Supreme Court judge, unless you set aside the statute itself or question the validity of the statute itself. But a governor's position or a Rajya Sabha position, which is a position which is a purely political appointment, I would say, and when saying that, I have nothing against Justice Nazir. I think he's a very fine human being, and no fault can be found with his particular appointment. But I feel that there should be a 1 year cooling off, because, or maybe even more, a 2 year cooling off, because then you will, because when you say justice is to be done, the principle is that justice should not only be done but seem to be done.
Yes, that's right.
If a judge is wanting this kind of an assignment pre-retirement, and if he actually gets it, it's a dangerous trend, and this trend should not be according to be encouraged at all. And if a person does a 1 year cooling off period, then things will change. Maybe politics may change, and his worth of being considered for that appointment will purely be on merit.
Okay, let me bring Adil Hassan. Why shouldn't his appointment then, Adil Hassan, be seen from the point of view of merit? Is this much ado about nothing, as Arima Sundaram put it rightly?
Ma'am, my point is that why BJP Katni and Karni is always different. Why BJP change its stand with its comfortability? What Mr. late Arun Jaitley told in the parliament in the legal cell seminar before the BJP advocates. Why the thing was backed by Mr. Gadkari. Why even Justice Thakur told that there should be cooling period of 3 years. Justice Chamreshwar left the residence very same day when he retired from Supreme Court, but Justice Arun Mishra got the extension every month. He got the extension in the Lutean zones. It's the question. BJP change stand. BJP thinks that they can change stand according to their comfort level. My question is that we are not questioning the integrity of Justice Nazir or any judge.
The appointment of Justice Nazir in particular.
No. Why we don't have? It's the India is a democratic country. We have all respect for Supreme Court judges, High Court judges. But the same thing in Kerala. In Kerala, Chief Justice Antino retired. He got the State Human Rights Commission. The same we have A.K. Goel Sahib.
So basically, Adil Hassan, there is just about every government or every party has done something like this. So there are precedents, so nobody can take a position politically. Yes, both of them have done it.
I'm talking about Congress also. Congress is equally responsible.
The point being made here is that it's not about right or wrong. It's about what the BJP said when they were not in power. And it was said by late Arun Jaitley himself.
Yes, my question is that. And Law Minister, he was Law Minister, Honorable Law Minister.
Go ahead.
Maria, if the gentleman has finished and has extended me the courtesy to finish, I have 3-4 arrows in my quiver on this. Number one, the appointment of Justice Nazir is per constitution, per past precedents, and per his talent. He has become governor not as somebody's Nazare Inayat, but purely because of his capability. Point number two, before I put on my political hat, the gentleman who is speaking, his party head, Mr. Owaisi, vows by the constitution. I have the constitution book in my hand. Article 124(7) puts only one restriction on Supreme Court judge, that he or she cannot practice in any court of law. So drafters of the constitution, if they thought in their wisdom to put any restriction, they would have, on the appointment of judges as governors, they would have done so. Number three, opposition's objection to Justice Nazir's appointment as governor reeks of hypocrisy, hollow criticism and anti-mindset. Is the argument being made, if Justice Nazir would have given a verdict directing Babri Masjid at the site, then he was qualified to become a governor. Just because he took the stand saying Ram Mandir should be constructed, he should not become a governor. Are we saying is that rather BJP has shown the government of the day that the political climate is such that politicization of the judiciary and misuse of the judiciary has stopped? Appointment of Justice Nazir as governor sent the message that the era of politicization of judiciary has stopped.
Okay, yes, the question is, we should not be looking at it because Ram Mandir verdict is not the only verdict that has been delivered by him. Let's not forget that he was part of the dissenting note also, the dissenting judgment, the minority judgment in fact, in the triple talaq case. So to look at his entire the judgments that he has done from that prism may not be fair for a justice of great eminence such as Justice Nazir. One moment, I'm coming to you. Adil Hassan ji, रुकिए ना. Adil Hassan ji, एक तरफ opposition ये कहती है कि one moment. Adil Hassan ji, आप ये एक तरफ opposition ये कहती है कि जो राजभवन है वहाँ पर it should be a non-political person. So here is a judge. Someone who is completely well versed in Constitution of India. You should be celebrating an appointment of this nature. Rather than just looking at what he said from the Ram Janam Bhoomi verdict. It was a unanimous verdict. And if anything, showed that the entire judiciary viewed this entire issue, which was vexing the country for decades, from one clear prism. It had to go in one way.
Ma'am, to be very honest, nobody is questioning the integrity of Justice Nazir. But for Mr. Shergill, I want to make him remember that in the history, independent history, first time Supreme Court judges came and attended the press conference. This was the blot on the government. You hope you remember that thing. 4 Supreme Court senior most judges came before the media. It was the history in Indian democracy, Indian judiciary. Nobody came like that. We are not questioning the integrity of Mr. Nazir. But what Mr. Arun Jaitley told, what Justice Thakur told, Justice Joseph told, Justice Chamaleshwar told, what Nitin Gadkari was president that time, he backed the resolution that there should be cooling period. Even Supreme Court judges retired, they told that there should be cooling period. Our point is simple.
Cooling off period endlessly.
Yes. I am talking about the cooling period. We should have cooling period. We have faith in judiciary.
Vikas Singh. While we look at various...
And I'm not going to get a chance.
You have people who are arguing for it, so I don't think so. You can make it about a monologue, please, Javeer Shergill.
You have to...
Javeer Shergill, you have made your point. I'm going to bring in others. Vikas Singh, the point here is also of, it is being seen from the prism the way it is. Is this only because had it been about a tribunal, there would not have been much issue? Because in tribunal, it is clearly mentioned that the head of these tribunals must be a retired judge. Do you think it's, drawing so much of attention and criticism only because it is a Raj Bhavan and Raj Bhavans are seen as political appointments? We have seen in the case of Justice Ranjan Gogoi also, he was sent to the Rajya Sabha, although he was part of those 12, appointments or the 12 MPs who are appointed by the president.
Well, that also is a very big debate, according to me, even for tribunals. And I would say this, that post-retirement judges should not be given any assignment. And even for tribunals, there is a need to amend these statutes to ensure that, why don't you have specialized people manning the tribunal rather than asking for only judges? So, for instance, a judge may not have done, any work in that particular branch of law. And a tribunal is invariably a very specialized area, for instance, telecom or electricity. These are very, very specialized, highly technical areas of, where tribunals function. And I would say that even for there, you should have people who are experts in the field to be brought in as chairman or members rather than, picking up retired judges. But that's a larger debate. And that debate, according to should happen, that judges should be completely ousted from any post-retirement appointment. And they should only either get their pension or permitted to do arbitration
PK
work, which
Malhotra,
most of them
PK
end up
Malhotra, I
doing
want to understand from
after
you, sir.
retirement goes
You know, our constitution also says nothing against post-retirement appointment of judges. That's also a clarity here. Then all these talks, do you think, become just about forgetting what has happened in the past? There are countless times in the past where former judges have been appointed to different positions. You know, you have the example of Justice Fazl Ali. You have several such examples which I spoke about just a few minutes back. The question then is, should the landmark verdicts of Justice Nazir be seen from the prism the way it is being debated?
See, let us first look at this issue at a larger perspective. There are three organs of the government: the executive, legislature, and the judiciary.
Yes.
And judiciary is supposed to be independent, functioning independently of the other two organs of the government. The moment the executive starts making appointment of the judges who have just retired on the posts, then the issue which I raised earlier, and as I quoted Mr. Arun Jaitley also having said in the parliament, the judges start looking for post-retirement appointment, and that affects their judgments. I think that is the issue on which we have to ponder upon. If you are looking for appointments in the commission, in the tribunals, because they are deciding the judicial functions, so there is no question mark on that. It is only when the executive, in exercise of its executive power, making political appointment, this kind of issue arises. And therefore, the question of cooling off period arises in this particular case also. If independence of judiciary is to be maintained, and you want to send a right signal to the common man that he will get justice from the judges, and they will not be influenced because they are going to get post-retirement benefit because they are giving a decision in favor of the government, I think then probably you are compromising with the independence of judiciary. With that kind of signal, if it goes to the public, will be very, very dangerous signal. So what we need is, as I said earlier, in case there is a cooling off period, at least in making these political appointments, which are purely guided by political consideration, of course they are meritable, no doubt about it, that a Supreme Court judge will prove to be a very good governor because he knows the constitution very well. So it no question mark on the individual appointments. But what I am talking of the system as such, and if we have to follow the system, then you have to see that the independence of judiciary is maintained and the confidence of the common man on the ground is not shaken because of this kind of appointments.
All right. Thank you so much for your time, Vikas Singh, Javeer Shergill, Adil Hassan, Arima Sundaram, and PK Malhotra. Shifting focus to debate 2, there is a fresh showdown in Tamil Nadu between the governor and the government. Tamil Nadu Governor RN Ravi has hit out at the DMK government and rigged up the law and order situation with a spotlight on Dalits. He claims that despite political narratives of social justice, atrocities against Dalits are on the rise in the state. He highlighted discrimination against Dalits in schools and temples, adding that only 7% of rape cases result in conviction where the victim is from the Dalit community. The DMK hit back at the governor, accusing him of spreading lies, claiming that he has proven he is an RSS ideologue. The party has reiterated its demand for RN Ravi's ouster from the post, calling his appointment a ploy to derail the work of the state. The BJP has defended the governor, calling the DMK anti-RSS and anti-Dalit, accusing Stalin of turning the governor's office into a political target just for doing its job and raising concerns. The big question that emerges now is that in this escalating tussle, who is really crossing the line?
Every other day you hear some atrocity against Dalits. Either the human feces will be put in the water tank of a Dalit colony, or he will be publicly humiliated and assaulted. The response of the law enforcement and criminal justice system is awful.
What will the governor do? He is instructed to talk what was given to him, told to him. Poor man, he is doing that. The cause for all these things is the RSS BJP.
DMK, as rightly said by Mr. Stalin, is an extended arm of Justice Party which was anti-Brahmin and anti-Dalit. What Mr. Ravi, the governor, had said is absolutely right.
Let me bring in my guests now. Narayan Tirupati, Vice President of BJP Tamil Nadu. We also have Ramaswamy Mayappan, lawyer, Jagdishwaran, political analyst, George Kurian, political analyst as well. While we look at this entire issue, one question that arises, Ramaswamy, is from Telangana to Kerala to Tamil Nadu, are the governors guilty of waging political fights with state governments when the data clearly shows otherwise in this case?
No, I think what's very strange from the political parties that are in office in Telangana, Tamil Nadu and Kerala is that historically they've had alliances at the center and they've had a smooth sailing. So they've never had any governor who's taken their office seriously and who's questioned the work done by the respective state governments. And all of a sudden, when there's a governor who's taken his job seriously, who's taken his role as the first citizen of the state, head of the state, and starts asking questions, they need to be more responsible and credible. Now, when that is lacking on their part, they find themselves at fault. One. Two, they cannot today go and say the governor's statements made in public are all lies. These are all caught in broad done in broad daylight in camera with witnesses. Can the DMK and Tamil Nadu go ahead and say what the governor stated is untrue? That is not the case. One. And two, when the governor asks questions, as the head of the state, he's not only responsible for the political office that the chief minister holds, but as the head of the state, he needs to have he needs to ensure that the impression that the state creates to the entire country and the entire world, not just the first citizen.
You know, the fact is that overall, you know, as per the data, the total crime against SCs is 17th as far as the various states and UTs in India is concerned. So is this an exaggeration or not presenting the truth?
No, see, I think the problem here is when we count rank among 29 states, we're saying we're 17th, and that is not the number. Where everyone strives to be is number one. We have no such crime, no such atrocity. And you say we are 17th, we are better than so many other people. That is not what holds good for me. That shouldn't hold good for any citizen of the state. That shouldn't hold good for any citizen of the country. And certainly not for the office of the governor. The governor has a larger role to play. That's what the constitution calls for. And I think this governor has taken that seriously and is stipulating the constitution and is asking questions.
No, but,
and if such questions are found hard by the state government,
my question then is, Mr. Jagdishwaran, if here is the governor who is holding mirror to the government, saying that if there are atrocities against Dalits, it should be fixed, then why should it be seen as him carrying the brief of the BJP? It's about a social evil. He's talking about something that ails the society. Fix it, rather than waging a war against the governor.
Yeah, see, Governor, I think he pointed out 5 issues. One being human faces thrown in the tank in Pudukkottai district in Engaivail, and Dalits are publicly humiliated and assaulted. They are not allowed in temple. There is a separate place when a child goes to the Anganwadi, and the conviction rates is very poor, and the Dalit housing funds are allocated to some of the schemes. So I was interested in all this stuff, and I was reading all the things. See, number one, when he says about the Dalit being humiliated publicly, we need to go to the data. As you rightly put, the NCRB data, the latest National Crime Records Bureau data says, of all the states in India, UP leads the list of the cases, atrocities, I would say atrocities against Dalits. Then comes Madhya Pradesh, then comes Rajasthan. And even in the southern states, it was first Telangana, Andhra, Karnataka, and Tamil Nadu goes last. So my question is, I mean, I'm not denying the facts. I'm okay for the facts. But when the governor says it is only Tamil Nadu that it is happening, and he's saying BJP ruled states are much better, Modi is giving a great job. And what are these states? What is UP? Who is ruling UP? Who is ruling Madhya Pradesh? Who is ruling Rajasthan? I'm not denying the facts. Yes, there are issues. I mean, as DMK is saying, social justice.
Tirupati, atrocities against Dalits in Tamil Nadu should be an issue. Should this issue be raised by a party, not publicly by the governor? has the governor not given an ammunition to the DMK to reduce his office to a political office? This is an issue which should be raised by the opposition. You are the opposition.
No, this is not. See, this is a social issue. Anyone has got the right to raise this issue, and the governor rightly has pinpointed that it is happening. As the head of the state, he has done it. There is nothing wrong. It is true that in this government, huge problems are happening for the Dalits. And when Mr. Stalin says that DMK is an extended arm of Justice Party, the Justice Party was anti-Brahmin, anti-Dalit. Yes, DMK is anti-Dalit. See, the thing is that we need to understand, if in UP you have got a lot of cases filed, that means the government is acting. They are booking cases. But what happened here? The excreta in a water tank of Dalits, only a small tiny village. Till date, no one is arrested. That shows what? That shows the negligence of the government. The law, lots and lots of human falls against Dalits, discrimination falls. And also, as rightly pointed out by Jagadishwaran, in the midday meals, Anganwadi centers, and also in temples, they are not allowed. And the ministers from DMK government abusing the Dalit people. All these are happening. The governor never said that it is only in Tamil Nadu it is happening. The governor said, here only people say that.
Yes, then Mr. Jagdishwaran, a governor he's expected to be apolitical, but if there is a crisis of this nature, when it has been said that perhaps Tamil Nadu is the most atrocity-prone state for Dalits and scheduled tribes, according to MHA in July 2022, then should the governor stay silent?
I'm not asking to be silent. I'm asking to be very neutral. He's doing this on purpose. He's doing this on purpose again and again. That's what his point is. Not pointing to UP. He's not pointing to Rajasthan. When compared to others, yes,
No, he's the governor of Tamil Nadu. Why will he point towards UP and other states?
No, he is projecting in such a way that only it is happening in Tamil Nadu. He's saying it is happening everywhere. It's not first of all, as I said, it's not a crisis. There is no crisis involved. See, there are issues happening. There are issues that needs to be taken care, that needs to be dealt strictly with law and order. But as he puts it, he's saying like as if this is happening. You see, UP, the number of cases, it is like 48,000 or something in a year. So which means there are hundreds of cases happening in one day. When compared to Tamil Nadu, this is much more. In Tamil Nadu, it is not that number.
Okay, I can see Mr. Kurian as well. Mr. Kurian, good to have you back. Okay, I think, yes, good to have you back. Where do you stand? The Prime Minister, remember, has said, okay, we seem to have lost that line with him.
Maria.
Yes. Yes, Mr. Tirupati. Boliye.
The governor has not said that it is only happening in Tamil Nadu. First of all, I strongly condemn Jagadishan for saying this. Again, he's reiterating, it is not so. The governor said that in this state, people say that they are the saviors of social justice. They claim that they are they have saved social justice. It is not so. He has been very, very clear. He said very clear. You need to understand this. So what he has said is, why should you compare? He is the governor of Tamil Nadu. He has got each and every right.
Okay, Mr. Kurian, where do you stand on this issue, particularly when we look at what the Prime Minister said recently, that the Congress has misused Article 356 90 times. So, if anything, we have seen how the governor's office or Raj Bhavan has been almost like a political place. But in the case of raising concerns related to SCs or STs or Dalits of India, why should it be seen from the prism the way a DMK is attacking the governor's office?
Maria, I'll come back to your question. I would like to, for your audience, I would like to make it clear that Tamil Nadu is a state where the Dalits, be the scheduled caste and the scheduled tribes, are the safest. BJP is trying desperately to make foothold in the non-BJP ruled states, and in this case, the governors they're not following their own constitutional duties. They're trying to be more political in this case, and I'm sure that Tamil Nadu has a special amendment as far as the Dalits are concerned. And so, in the perspective, the entire thing is just to malign the image of the DMK governance in Tamil Nadu, because BJP is not able to, by hook or crook, trying to use the governor in this scenario. So it's nothing but trying to malign the image of the government of the Tamil Nadu. Yeah.
No, but
I just need to intervene here. Just
yes,
1 minute.
yes, yes,
The
Mr.
DMK
Mayappan,
constantly keeps talking. The DMK constantly keeps talking about the oath of affirmation and the governor's duty. Article 115 of the Constitution clearly portrays what the oath is. And in the oath, it clearly says his duty that I will devote myself to the service and well-being of the people of Tamil Nadu is what it says. So if the governor is asking these questions, he is devoting himself in his service, asking questions on behalf of the people for their well-being. If the state government and the political party that's in office today is not happy with it, that is the oath of affirmation that comes from the Constitution. They simply want the governor not to act in accordance with the Constitution. That is their intention today. They can compare themselves, they can take statistics. All that I want is when it's my state, my country, I want it to be number one, no matter what. I don't want a single incident. The state government will have to take responsibility. They cannot fly it away and say the governor is making it political. When there is an incident, the law and order in the state is with the state government. And in this matter, the chief minister holds law and order. Here, he controls the home ministry. Then the questions obviously will have to be asked.
No, but Mr. Mayappan, the question is that there is a precedent that the governor has been taking on the state government. Yes, on this issue, he is right, because it is about atrocities against Dalits. The governor is well within his rights as the constitution watch of the state to raise such a concern. But what about his general action? And that is the reason why the DMK, the ruling government, is suspicious of it. Jagdishwaran, Mr. Jagdishwaran, quickly.
See, even, I mean, what the thing is, even at the governor address, he was leaving out the name of B.R. Ambedkar and Periyar. And suddenly, governor is very much, he's caring about the Dalits and Dalit atrocities. I don't get it. That's what he's doing this on purpose again and again. He's doing this on purpose. I mean, he's finding ways to malign the DMK. I mean, if you want to speak the facts blindly. Say, of all the states, Tamil Nadu is in 17th.
No, but are you not? No. But are you not making the governor a soft target? Because you want to take on the BJP, you realize that his office has become a soft target. Why don't you see this? Why don't you know?
Because as DMK
I am saying this purely from the prism that here is someone who is saying that there are crimes against Dalits, which has to be addressed. Look at it from that prism. Look at course correction. Look at addressing the issue. Look at ensuring that there's conviction of the criminals.
See, even on the conviction rate, the number he's saying, I don't think it's right. Even on the funds allocated to Dalits, I don't think that the number is right. 30% he's saying.
Narayan Tirupati, Ramaswamy Mayappan, Jagdishwaran and George Korean, thank you so much for your time. We are slipping into a short break. Coming up, with over 35,000 deaths since the Turkey-Syria earthquake, search operations and rescue and relief is continuing with aid from over 60 nations, including India's Operation Dost. CNN News 18 gets you exclusive ground reports after a quick break. Stay with us.
The Prime Minister will be inaugurating the 246-kilometer Delhi-Dosa-Lalsop stretch of the Delhi-Mumbai Expressway. Now, why this is key is because what the stretch does is it reduces the travel time from Jaipur to the national capital. Right now, it takes about 5 hours. It will be cut down to about 3.5 hours.
First leg of the Delhi-Mumbai Expressway is all set to be thrown open to public by Prime Minister Narendra Modi from Rajasthan's Dosa. Now, we are currently reporting from that particular stretch. Now, this is the stretch of 246 km long, which is of the Delhi-Dosa-Lalsop, made at a cost of 12,150 crore. Now, currently it takes 5 hours to reach from Delhi to Jaipur, but now after the inauguration of the same expressway, it is going to take the same distance to be covered in 3.5 hours.
The Prime Minister will be visiting pole-bound Karnataka on Feb 13 to inaugurate the 14th edition of Aero India 2023. This is at the Air Force Station in the capital. Now, the 14th edition will include aerial displays by aircrafts along with a large exhibition and a trade of aerospace companies. Also in Karnataka, yesterday, the Union Home Minister Amit Shah, who was visiting, launched a scathing attack against the Congress. He said that it strengthens anti-national elements and can never protect the state. The Congress has obviously rebutted that. He argued that the Congress has released 1,700 members of the Popular Front of India. Remember, that's the group that the central government banned a few months ago. Now, we'll tell you more about what was said. This was all yesterday in Karnataka. Moving now to Chhattisgarh, where after a long visit to the poll-bound state, the BJP National President JP Nadda will be visiting West Bengal today. The BJP President will address 2 gatherings. He'll also help organize meetings as a part of measures to strengthen the Saffron Party's hopes within West Bengal, where they have stiff competition from the TMC. And now to some important appointments. President Droupadi Murmu has accepted the resignation of the Maharashtra Governor Bhagat Singh Koshyari. Remember, he had a very long, full of controversy tenure all the way back since 2019. Koshyari, as we just told you, served for the state for over 3 years. He's being replaced by the current governor of Jharkhand, Ramesh Bes. And now let's back to the national capital, where an anti-encroachment drive continues in Mehrauli amid protests by locals. Yesterday, the Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal actually came out. He asked the DDA, the Delhi Development Authority, to stop its anti-encroachment drive. He also announced a fresh demarcation exercise in the area. And the MCD attempts again and again to have mayor polls. The Lieutenant Governor right here in Delhi, Vinal Saxena, has issued and announced 16th February is going to be the fresh date for these mayoral polls. You'll remember the Delhi government has attempted a few times now to have the mayoral polls go smoothly. They have so far failed. And former Bihar Chief Minister Lalu Prasad Yadav returned to the national capital on Saturday after undergoing a successful kidney transplant surgery in Singapore. This was in December over the past year. The RJD president was unwell. He was under treatment. Earlier, his daughter, who had donated the kidney to her father, actually shared an emotional post on Twitter about his recovery journey. And now to other stories. We're taking you to Visakhapatnam, where at least 9 people were injured in a mishap. This is at the Vizag steel plant in Andhra Pradesh. Now, the explosion occurred in a conveyor belt which was carrying liquid steel in the plant. 4 plant employees and 5 contract workers were among those who were injured. Meanwhile, the trade union leaders demanded an investigation into the entire incident. And now in Uttar Pradesh, where a fire broke out in Kanpur, in a part of Kanpur in Uttar Pradesh. The fire destroyed 8 vehicles parked in police custody. Local police reached the spot. They brought the fire under control with the help of the fire department. And the cause of the fire is as of yet unknown.
बर्रा थाना के अंतर्गत पड़ने वाली एक पुरानी चौकी, बर्रा चौकी, जो वर्तमान में जहां पर सरकारी कार्य नहीं होता है, पर आग लगने की सूचना मिली। सूचना मिलते ही स्थानीय पुलिस मौके पर पहुंची और फायर सर्विसेज की मदद से आग पर काबू पा लिया गया। किसी तरह की जनहानि वहां नहीं हुई है और आग किस वजह से लगी, इसकी जांच की जा रही है।
Alright, and a hand grenade was found lying near a canal in Ganga Nahari, which is a rural area of Uttar Pradesh's Meerut. Now, the grenade was disposed of by a local team of people along with a bomb squad. A preliminary inquiry has been ordered after seizing the hand grenade. And now to Tamil Nadu, where the Governor RN Ravi participated in a graduation ceremony at a private college in Coimbatore yesterday. Ravi addressed the students after awarding them degrees at the ceremony. He said India is the fastest growing economy in the world. You'll remember that his tenure has also faced quite a bit of controversy in conflicts with the DMK.
We are poised to be the 3rd largest economy in the next 5 to 6 years. Before 2030, we will be the 3rd largest economy. And by 2047, we will be the largest economy in the world. We have no doubt about it. Even the world has no doubt about it. The world is looking at India with that hope that India is a confident India. It will become the largest economy in the world.
And moving now to Karnataka once again, where Bengaluru FC and Kerala Blasters FC fans clashed. These are both soccer teams or football teams after the match between the 2 teams in Bengaluru. Now, the match was held at Kantavira Stadium in Bengaluru. Bengaluru FC defeated Kerala Blasters by 1. one goal. The entire clash between the fans of the two teams is making rounds, as you can see, all over social media. And moving quickly now to a story from Assam, where the Assam DGP Gyanendra Pratap Singh saluted his daughter Aishwarya Singh, who has just passed out. We're showing you the visuals. She just passed out as a IPS officer. The Assam DGP got extremely emotional, his heart filled with pride at the very moment. And now moving to Uttar Pradesh, where hundreds of migratory birds actually flocked to the ghats of UP's Prayagraj town as they arrived at the Sangam. This is to provide a beautiful sight to all of those who were watching. Thousands of Siberian birds could also be seen at the ghat. The tourists and locals rejoiced at the sight. The tourists said that watching migratory birds while taking a holy dip was very pleasing.
There is one estimate that the destruction that happened in Turkey can be those cities, that destruction can be rebuilt in 3 years. But as far as Syria is concerned, it is going to take 10 years to get life back to normal. This is what reports are saying. In fact, the Russian army is also present in Syria. They are helping Bashar al-Assad government to fight war against the rebel forces. They are also carrying out the rescue works. Then UK government has funded white helmets. These are the gates through which supplies are reaching Syria. Now look at the truck which is passing by. Now that truck is taking the supplies inside the Syria. You can see this picture, these footages are relief for millions of people, those who are awaiting supplies. Antakya in Turkey is heavily devastated. We are reporting from the interiors of Antakya, building after building, complete destruction, enormous destruction that has taken place. And in fact, these areas, these neighborhoods have completely been evacuated by authorities. Nobody is living in these buildings. And in fact, there are some commandos from the authorities, those who have been given task here to keep law and order intact. Otherwise, look at the destruction. Now, this is the level of destruction, and one can imagine the intensity with which the quake struck the city of Antakya. Now, you can see the debris on the cars parked here. This is a residential locality where we are reporting from. The entire multi-story building has come down, has collapsed. The rescue operation has got over there. Then there you see 2 vehicles, 2 SUVs have come under the debris. It is going to take more than 1 year to clear all the debris in Antakya because the level of destruction is massive and more than any other city in Turkey. And in fact, we have also been advised not to roam on the streets because these buildings are so weak. You can see the entire building is vacant. The authorities have evacuated it. This is the level of destruction, and it is going to be a task for the government. So right now we are at Karahan Maras, and this entire city, especially the center part of the city, is completely devastated. Right now we are reporting from one marketplace, and what I could see here is destruction, complete destruction. Behind me you can see, the windows of these shops are broken. In fact, I can also see cracks on this building. This is a shopping center come residential apartment, and look at the situation right here. Completely in a dilapidated condition. The authorities have asked people to vacate all these buildings. And in fact, you can see the concrete structure has come down, and there you see that entire building has collapsed. That building has completely fallen, has completely came down. There were many multi-storied buildings in this area, and now you see those buildings have reduced to rubble. This is a ground situation that we are getting for our viewers in Maras. Now the situation of Maras is worse than Gaziantep or any other province in this entire area.
It is all crushed. It has all crushed.
Half of the city crashed down.
Huh.
In just 60 seconds.
In just 60 seconds.
At 15 past 4 in the morning.
Look at the condition of these cars. You know, the buildings have fallen, the concrete structure have fallen on these cars, and you can see the rescue work is still going on there. I can see many JCB machines here. People are saying the entire geography, the entire design of this area has got changed. The destruction has happened on such a level.